Hey, this is Ruben here, Audio Mentor, and today I have the Zoom PodTrak P4, a recorder slash audio interface made for podcasters. So what's the difference between something like the PodTrak P4 and an audio interface like the H6? Well, the P4 is made more for podcasters, whereby it has functions that relates towards a podcasting scenario. For example, you can take this out as a remote device and go and record remotely up to 4 inputs. There are 4 inputs on the device. Or you can also use it as a device to live stream audio on the device into your apps like Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and more, right? So in this video, I'm going to unbox this, show what's inside, do a quick sound test, and tell you of how it works, right? Now we're going to get close into this, but it doesn't tell you some main features of the PodTrak P4. So basically, what you get in the box is nothing more than just your manuals, all right? And the P4 itself, and a pair of battery. That's all you get with the box here. So you would have to buy your own microphone, your headphones, which I featured in another video. You can go check it out. I put down the link into the descriptions. Go and check that video out. Okay. So with the P4, it's just this. So what I think about the interface and the recorder is it's a little bit old school. It's built not very modernly, and those main features before we get close into the P4, right? So there are 4 inputs above. These are for your microphones. They're all XLR. All 4 of these inputs has phantom power function. So if you're using condensers with your podcasting recording, you can use up to 4 condenser microphones, right? Now on the bottom, we have 4 headphone outs. So if you have 4 guests in your podcast recording, you can have all of them monitoring the same exact audio, right? All with their own dedicated gain downs. Now, although this is 4 inputs and you can simultaneously record a multi-track of 4 inputs, with the audio interface function, if you were to connect this to a computer, you can only use a 2 input, 2 out, it as a 2 input, 2 out audio interface. So that's the P4. Now let's get close into it. I want to show what's on the device here, and let's talk about how it works with your workflow. But before that, I also have the BTA2, which is a Bluetooth module, which you would basically add on into this P4 on the right here. And what this does is basically allows you to stream audio from your smartphone directly over Bluetooth into an input on the Zoom PodTrak P4. Anyway, let's get into close-up and I'll show you what's on the Zoom P4. So this is the Zoom PodTrak P4 in close-up. To turn it on, you basically just have to hold down this power button on the right and it will be on. Right? So let's talk about what we have on the device. So first of all, we have individual gain knobs for our 4 XLR inputs here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And all these inputs here has phantom power. So that means if you use this as a condenser microphone, we have phantom power that if we switch to the right, like that, basically uses phantom power. And the left basically means if using a dynamic microphone. Now, input number 3 and 4 is a little bit special in a way that this also takes in audio from a smartphone via a TRRS input from here, line in, or to use the BTA2 module, which is sold separately. So what this does is it acts as a Bluetooth adapter so that the PodTrak P4 can also accept Bluetooth audio from any device that can transmit Bluetooth audio. Right? I'm going to show that to you in a while. Now, if you look on the input number 4, this is for USB audio interface. So what this does is if you connect this as an audio interface to a computer, what's going to happen is you can also reroute audio back from your computer into input number 4 to play as background music or anything that you want to from your applications like Skype, Facebook Live, and also more. Now if you look on the right, this is where we have our SD card. Now it holds up to 512 gigabytes, and this is basically your power supply. You can use this with a power adapter or use it for power bank. And this is your USB-C output to connect this to a computer for file transfer and also as an audio interface. Now if you look on the front, we have down here we have our 4 headphone outputs, and these are all individual gain knobs for the 4 outputs that we have here. So if you are recording or doing live streams with 4 guests in a room, you can actually have all of them having their own individual gains to monitor what's going on in the PodTrak P4. Now, if you look at the screen here, this is basically how you navigate around your menu, your play and pause, which also acts as a up and down button together with the stop button and the record button, right? And these four here, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are basically sound pads. So if I were to hit 1 and use this gain here to change the volume of the pad, you can see that's the background music or sound effects that you can actually play in the midst of your podcast or your live stream. And of course, this would be your mute buttons for the inputs here. So I want to show you how to connect the BTA2 Bluetooth module to the Zoom PodTrak P4. So let's unbox this one. And just to remind you, the BTA2 is an additional accessory that you have to buy separately. It's probably a commercial move from Zoom. So it looks something like that with its inputs here. And basically what I want to do is to plug it inside here. So I'm going to put that in. Now you can see it lights up, and basically you'll also find that you have a button on the right. So if you hold that for a few seconds, what's going to happen is it will start searching and become in discovery mode. And I have a mobile phone here. I'm going to swipe this down, turn on my Bluetooth. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and connect to BTA number 2. Now once you've done that, right, what's going to happen is this is going to be acting as a transmitter for audio, and anything that I play on my phone, whether it's music, whether it's a call from someone from some app, is going to be transmitted into input number 3 as long as I have the button switched to the smartphone input. So everything that is going to be played on my phone, any audio calls from a guest I have from a podcast session, or any music, sound effects will be all going root into input number 3. And of course, I can mute it, or I can change and edit the volume, gain volume here, and they'll all go inside the Zoom PodTrak P4, which I can then record by hitting the record button like that, or I can also output this into my computer. So that's the Zoom PodTrak P4, your podcasting, best friend. So I'm going to do a sound test with the PodTrak P4, and you can see that I have already everything hooked up here, my computer to the Zoom PodTrak P4, and also a microphone that is inserted into the first mic input of the PodTrak P4. Now keep in mind that when you run this as an audio interface, you will notice that it's not actually a multi-track audio interface whereby the inputs is only the left. You can see that it's only front left, and in the second channel I'm going to put this to the front right. So what is recording really and what is outputting from the device is basically its master left and right, the master outputs from the device. So it's not a multi-track audio interface, it's basically the output, the main output from the device. So every microphone, all the sound effects will be mixed on the device and then sent into your DAW, which I'm using Adobe Audition in this case. So I'm going to hit on arm here, left and right, and you can see my signal is already being inside, so this microphone is connected. Now in terms of preamp, the preamp is fair. I think it's great for podcasting, but I can hear the differences between this preamp and also the preamps on other audio interfaces. So if you're looking for a better preamp, you probably want to get a different type of audio interface, not the PodTrak P4. But if you're just focusing on podcasting, then this is good enough. Alright, so I'm going to hit on record and let you hear the sound from the microphone, which is an SC Electronics X1A going into the Zoom PodTrak P4. Let's go. So there are no effects currently set up on the PodTrak P4. I've turned off the limiter. I've also turned off the low cut filter, so you're hearing the exact raw sound that is going through the PodTrak P4. So judge for yourself, is this sound good enough for you when it comes to doing podcasting? I'm going to end it with a quick sound effect on the sound pad here as well. And there you go. Alright. So the PodTrak P4 is more so aimed for podcasters, not so much for musicians or for everyday music production use. But if you're doing a lot of podcasting, if you're doing a lot of live streams, right, this would be a useful tool that we can have up to 4 inputs to run with your live streams, add effects in and do all sort of cool stuff with this. So podcasting, live streaming, this is your tool. Let me know what you think of the Zoom PodTrak P4. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this device. So let me know in the comment section down below, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.